This program is made possible by 46% of non-retirees believe they can't afford to retire. American Senior Benefits agents help retirees find solutions aiding your journey to retirement and financial security. More at wichita.americanseniorbenefits.com. Moving can be stressful. Whether your move is local or long distance, Two Men in a Truck can help. More at twomen.com.
Are you a wartime veteran ages 73 to 85? Did you know there are new rules that may affect your pension? Don't lose out on benefits you deserve. Our team serves you because you've served us. Contact Long-Term Care for Veterans today.
In this episode of Empowering Seniors, we will talk to Christiane Hill of American Senior Benefits about flipping the money switch.
Retirement is supposed to be the golden years.
Right.
It's hard to be the golden years if you don't have enough money for it. So part of my job is to make sure people can do that, live the way they want.
Plus, have you heard the term fiduciary? Well, Ron Bengal with the Resource Group Advisory will shed some light on that topic.
It's a financial advisor that is duty-bound, legally bound, to make sure that after they weigh all the parameters, that they're making recommendations that absolutely is in the client's best interest.
Also, we will meet with Sue Christiansen with MTG Family Mortgage, who will help demystify the reverse mortgage tool.
We do a lot of education around this program simply to let them know what the benefits are and the disadvantages are. You need to know both facets of the program to make an informed decision.
Hi, I'm Katherine Ambrose. We'll talk about those topics and more on this episode of Empowering Seniors. The purpose of life just might be to truly live before we die, and the purpose of money to fund that perfect life. Today we're going to talk about financially empowering our senior years. I'm Katherine Ambrose, and this is Empowering Seniors. Welcome, Christiane Hill.
Thank you so much for having me.
So share with us some of your tips about flipping the money switch and how we can navigate through lifestyle changes in later years.
One of the things that I do, people come to me when they are either retiring, getting ready to retire, or they've already retired, and they're trying to figure out what exactly they need to do as far as to get money or access to the funds that they've saved all their lives. We talk a lot about flipping that money switch based on what their needs are. We do a lot of analysis, a lot of sitting down and planning. It's something that's not tailor-made for everyone. It has to be done individually. So it's just not one grab it off the shelf. And it's super important that we figure out what type of lifestyle changes are going to happen. Sometimes people don't know. Maybe we're going to go from we're retired and we're enjoying our retired lives, and now we've got to raise some grandchildren, so we need some extra funds. So we have to figure out how to do that. My job is to retire risk. That's really one of the most important things for seniors, is because right now they're not contributing to funds anymore. So they've gone from working and building that huge retirement or small retirement to now I'm not contributing to that fund anymore. I'm not contributing to that retirement anymore. That's a huge issue, because right now we do have a crazy economy. We have things that are fabulous going on in the world and things that aren't so fabulous, and all of that kind of adjusts the situation. So my job is to make sure that people have a plan. So that's what I do.
And I suppose that you're probably looking at, especially if they're retiring and they are leaving work and they're leaving their health insurance, and how they transition to health insurance without being employed.
So we have this big group of baby boomers that everyone keeps talking about, okay? And we have 10,000 people turning 66 every day in this country, okay? So that is a huge amount of people to try and transition from a workforce to a retired force. The whole idea of people being able to use their money and have them live the way that they want to live is a huge thing. We want people to be able to use those funds or use that savings or use that retirement to do what they want to with it. So part of that, the insurance part, has to do with transitioning from work insurance to now I'm on retired insurance. Maybe I'm going to take Medicare. Maybe I'm not going to take Medicare yet. I'm going to continue to work. Maybe I'm 75 and the policy I've had for the last 10 years isn't the best policy for me anymore. It's costing too much. The premium's gone up. So we sit down and we look at all of those different scenarios to try and fix whatever issue there is. That all has to do with flipping that money switch. Because if you don't have enough money to pay those premiums or to take care of those unexpected expenses, we got to figure out where we're going to get it from. So that's why we sit down and go over all of those things.
So what are some of the questions that people come to you with?
Right now, people turning 66 want to know how much money they can make. They're very hungry with what they want to do, but yet they don't want to lose everything that they put in. Then you have people who are in their 70s, 75, 80. They don't want to lose anything. They don't want to be risky. They want to turn something on and try and get an extra payment. So there's lots of different questions. And like I said, it's not tailored to one individual cookie cutter thing. It's everything is different for each person. You talk about living the way you want to live. Retirement is supposed to be the golden years.
Right.
It's hard to be the golden years if you don't have enough money for it. So part of my job is to make sure people can do that, live the way they want.
Do you often find people that you could have helped if you would have found them sooner, if they would have reached out sooner?
Yes. So we have a whole lot of people that show up at our office that retired a long time ago, and they've been drawing from funds, and now the funds have dwindled down, and they're healthy. You know, they don't have one foot in the grave. They're healthy, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to make those monies last forever. So that's something that we specialize in doing. And there's a lot of good advisors and people out there that do that. The main thing is that you have a person, that you have somebody that you can sit down with, that you can discuss these things with. You want to make sure that it's not just some internet person, somebody that called you on the phone. You want somebody that you know that's local. You want somebody to sit down and go through your entire situation. Ask you how much money you've got coming in. Ask you how much money is going out. Ask you what it is that you want to do. You know, retirement really is supposed to be fun. And we get a lot of different things in there that challenge that. Whether it's health issues, whether it's trying to help children, whether it's trying to help grandchildren. We have a lot of challenges in there. You have husband and wives that we may lose a spouse. We've got to figure out how to replace the Social Security income, because when one of them passes, that income has to be replaced. Well, there's flipping on your money switch. We got to figure out how to do that. So there's lots of different questions and answers that can be filled out.
If people know about things ahead of time, then that'd be a lot better than finding out the hard way later on, I'm sure.
Well, if we had a crystal ball, you know, we would all be millionaires, but we don't. Life happens. And how you live that life is kind of what we have to figure out. I really want all of my clients to be happy with the way that they live, to not worry about whether or not they're going to have money for their prescription drugs, to not worry about whether or not they can pay the co-pays at the hospital or pay the co-pays at the doctor's office. So that whole scenario is wrapped up in one big ball of turning on that money and preserving that money and retiring the risk of that money.
Some financial advisors probably can help educate and be a resource on that whole gamut.
Definitely. So education is the big thing. Education is the big thing for all seniors. You hear about all of these different scams that happen, and someone's calling somebody on the phone and somebody's giving out a Social Security number. It goes back again to what I said. You need a local person. And you want somebody that will come to your table, that will sit down with you and will ask you the important questions, okay? There's so many people that do such a good job in this community. But like with any community, there's so many people that maybe that's not their best thing to be doing, okay? But get references, get referrals. Talk to who your friends are dealing with. Keep up on the new things that happen. You know, insurance for people that are retired, whether it's Medicare insurance or any other type of insurance, it has to be updated. You can't just go with the plan that you've had forever and then say, it's good, it's been the best since I've had it, so it's fine. Those premiums go up, policies change, Medicare changes, rules for retirement change. So we want to make sure we're keeping up with that.
Exactly, keeping up with time. It's kind of like a cable bill. You got to check and make sure you're getting the best deal.
That's exactly right.
All right, we're going to check in with Ron Bengal, and he's going to give us some perspective from his industry. Here we are with Ron Bengal. Welcome, Ron. Thank you for joining in on the conversation on flipping the money switch. Tell us a little bit from your perspective about how seniors can prepare and adjust financially for the best days ahead.
I think there's many unique problems that occur when you think about retirement, getting older and flipping that money switch. But the main thing, I think, is not to be overly concerned. There are resources and people and advisors and programs like this that really help clients really navigate those waters. So I don't think it's quite as dire sometimes as when we read the financial press. I think there's a lot of resources and good people available. When I think of retirees, I think of usually family units. You have a husband and wife typically. And when this occurs, I guess I have a burden for the spouse that is the wife in terms of because we age out differently. So a lot of the planning that I do in flipping that money switch is concerned with the family unit, that unit of two, but also concerned with a particular attention to the female spouse. Because of the age differentials, oftentimes men marry a little bit younger, but then women outlive men 8 to 12 years, depending on region and race and so forth. So it's really a unique dilemma, but it's also an opportunity. And that's why there are people like me that do what we do to help others and your other panelists that we have.
So, and Christy had mentioned that it's important to have a person, to have a trusted advisor that is local, that you know personally, someone that you can meet with face to face, and that really knows you and that really understands your situation. So tell us how someone like you helps a family unit or a single person or remaining spouse navigate through those decisions as life throws those curveballs.
Yes, certainly. Well, we're in the age of technology and social media and all these things. And so a lot of how we consume today has to do with differing ways of distribution, if you will. But I believe it's still very important to have a face-to-face conversation, particularly in matters of trust, like we're talking about here. So Christiane is exactly right. It's really about empowering them so that they understand the resources that are available, and then just kind of navigating that together with them. And it becomes a relational type of conduit, if you will. There are robo-advisors out there that do similar to what I do, but people, by and large, want to talk to a real person. When they have questions, they want to know that they can really ask those questions easily, and they're used to a framework where it's more neighborly. And you look at the age of the folks that I work with, 50 and up typically, and they come from the days where we had neighbors, where we talked, where we had a sense of community. And so all of that is vitally important to giving that peace of mind, not just working with the hard numbers, but really working with them where they are to really navigate or shepherd through these type of situations. So I love people. And so it's easy to talk to people and reassure them as we go through. And I think that comfort level really allows them to make good, sound decisions. And the key, I think, is to flourish in this next season of life. We can get really bogged down with the numbers and worries and all of that. But to have someone that will share that burden with you a little bit, if you will, and then walk through it, it's vitally important.
You have to have a specialist that really understands the industry and just everything. It's kind of like if you were to Google some ailment you were having and, go into some hypochondriac episode because of what is popping up. And, everyone's trying to sell something online, and there's a lot of scary things, and to have someone that can really explain things.
Well, and I work in a capacity as an advisor where I'm a fiduciary, so I'm legally bound to work on that client's best interest. And you would think that all advisors and that all people that assist folks as seniors would have that same capacity, but they do not. So transparency, trust, those type of things are vitally important. I don't make recommendations to clients until I know something about them. So I'm somewhat like a physician in that I can't make a diagnosis till I walk through, that protocol. It's just vitally important to make sure that what we place is well placed and in the client's best interest. And we're not the only ones that are doing it right, but you've put together an excellent group of panelists who really take it to heart the way they work with their client.
Can you explain for the audience what a fiduciary is?
Yes, it's in my capacity, it's a financial advisor that is duty bound, legally bound, to make sure that after they weigh all the parameters, that they're making recommendations that absolutely is in the client's best interest. And if not, then there's repercussions easily from a legal standpoint for remuneration for the client if there's been a wrong done. So it just goes through the layers of LLC or other protections, and it really is consumer driven. We're in an industry that's very heavily regulated, sometimes I think too much so, but I really am glad that I'm in an industry where there's really a move the last 20 years or so to protect the consumer. And so I'm real proud of our industry as a whole. Yeah.
Any last word that you might have to empower seniors on financials?
Make sure that you sit down with someone that you feel as though that has your best interest at heart, that they listen to you, but make sure they're really hearing you. Okay, and then really educate yourself as much as you can so you ask the right questions. And don't necessarily feel obligated to work with a friend of a family member or anyone else. Be a good, astute consumer. Get referrals. Make sure it's someone that's been in business for a while. We have a lot of advisors that are quite good in the Wichita area, but many have not seen all of the whims of the market up and down. We've been in an excellent market since 08, 09, and so make sure that the plans that are put in place will stand the test of time and best serve the clients.
Good advice. Thank you, Ron, for joining us.
Well, thank you for your time.
All right. Next, we're going to hear from Sue Christiansen on reverse mortgages. Meet my friend Sue Christiansen. She is someone I've known for over 30 years. First as a realtor and then has a mortgage broker. And she has helped me many times with different people out in the community, especially that have been in extremely tricky, sticky mortgage situations. I'd like for you to explain what the truth about reverse mortgages, because there's some hunky 1980s stars on television talking about reverse mortgages, and we don't know what to believe.
Well, reverse mortgages have been around a long time, and it's an honor to be here with you and talk about this program, which I'm very passionate about, and I think that will show through. The internet lenders, the TV commercials, to their credit, they only have 47 seconds to explain a whole program. And there's so many things that they're not able to talk about in the scope of that time frame. And I think it's helpful, it's a benefit for families to be able to sit down with somebody and talk face to face with them at the kitchen table, in the office, wherever they choose to do that, and get all of their questions answered, and more importantly, their concerns. There's a lot of misconceptions about reverse mortgages, and so as part of what we do as someone who represents this product is we do a lot of education around this program simply to let them know what the benefits are and the disadvantages are. You need to know both facets of the program to make an informed decision. And as part of that discussion, to find out why they're interested in a reverse mortgage, to see if what they're wanting to accomplish with the program, this program can really address. We're seeing some changes in the reverse industry as far as people looking at the mortgages, and we're finding that when I first started doing these in 2009, people were waiting until there was a crisis in their life to do a reverse mortgage, and they were maybe at the very end of their finances, or an emergency would come up, and that would be typically the time and the event that we would see somebody look at a reverse mortgage seriously. And that has changed over time, over the last 10 years, quite a lot. They're using them for a lot of things. Seniors are doing a lot of research, reading, they're online with it, they're becoming very comfortable with what this program does. And we're also seeing them not wait as long to look at this product. They're starting to look at it sooner rather than later, which is a great thing because it is a product that can wrap into their overall financial and retirement plan and let their advisors and their other people that are their experts and their business associates be able to utilize the proceeds from this program to help them in their retirement, and I see that as a great benefit. So refinances a lot of their current home, paying off mortgages, doing remodeling. But in recent years, probably in the last 2 or 3, we're starting to see more families that are electing to use a reverse mortgage to sell their current home but go into their next home. Simply because part of the concerns that they share with me is they're concerned about, they don't want another house payment. If their current house was paid off, what is not attractive to them in making a moving decision is going into another monthly house payment. They are concerned about being able to keep that house payment up over time, and what they don't want to do is get an upside down to where they could face not being able to keep that mortgage payment up. And one of the attractive pieces of a reverse mortgage is that there is no monthly principal and interest payment requirement. That is very freeing for a family in being able to retain more of their income in their budget, but also when they take their down payment and they partner that with a reverse mortgage loan, instead of paying cash, that may also let them retain more of their funds that can help them be able to live their life in a more comfortable fashion long term. And that's important to them. So the housing expense for a reverse mortgage on a purchase, that monthly housing expense consists of just the monthly property taxes, if there's special assessments, homeowners association, and then your homeowner's insurance. All of that monthly housing expense total, that can be a lot lower than some of the other housing options that they're considering, whether it's going into a rental situation or assisted living, or maybe a condo community, or even into a nursing home, because statistics do show us that we can live less expensively at home. And if you can live less expensively at home and have a higher quality of life because your housing expense is less, that's a win.
Okay, so what you're saying is that for some people, they could explore the idea of using a reverse mortgage as a tool to maybe pay for some of their living expenses, maybe fund even at some point home health, in-home care, and some of their expenses, and that might be a way to fund some of their expenses and age in place.
Absolutely, absolutely. Whether it's having home help come in, maybe it's having somebody come and take care of your outside, people coming to take care of maintenance on your home. It could be simple things like, I need dentures. Some of those things that medical programs don't pay for, and things like that.
It's something that you need a professional to help you understand, and it's definitely a tool. Very good. Well, thank you, Sue. That's very helpful. Appreciate you being on.
Thank you.
All right, let's get back to Christiane. Christiane, I'd like you to have the last word.
Okay, well, thank you. So I want to make sure that people understand. Your children, they really don't want your money. They want you to live the way that you want to live. They want you to be retired the way that you want to be retired. And I think that we're living on an old type of idea that we need to leave everything to our children, and we want to make sure that they have some nest egg to build on. They're building their own nest egg. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, just like you did when you were working. So I think it's super important that we use those monies and we flip on that money switch to live the way that we want to live and to live retired the way that we want to. I think that that's super important. It's okay to take care of grandchildren when you need to, and it's okay to take care of children when they need some help. But remember that you worked super, super hard to do this for yourself, to not run out of money. People are living longer, and they're living longer in care. So we got to make sure that we can take those monies, those resources that we have, and make them last our entire lifetime, because that's the only thing we've got. So we want to make sure that we're able to pay for what we need to pay for and do what we want.
Yeah.
Remember too that we used to plan for retirement about 15 years of retirement. 10 to 15 years was the maximum because the life expectancy was so small. Now we're planning for 20, 30, 40 years of retirement. It's a totally different game. And so we've got to hold on to what we can hold on to. We've got to make sure that it lasts, like I said, as long as we do, so that in the end game, if there's a little left over for somebody else, that's okay. But that we were able to do what we wanted to do. We were able to take care of ourselves first, and that's not a selfish thing.
Right.
Not at all.
Or take care of ourselves as long as possible.
Exactly.
I just read the other day that the fastest growing segment of the population is over 100.
That is exactly right. I mean, we have a lot of people living to 100, but most of them are not living by themselves. They're having some type of assistance. And most people want that assistance to come from themselves. They don't want to get it from some other source. They don't want to have their children have to help pay for them.
Pay for it.
You know,
It's
they want to,
expensive.
right, they want to be able to take care of that themselves. And we can actually retire that risk in money. We can talk about the longevity risk. How long am I going to live and how long is that money going to last? And it's a simple conversation. And so if you're not having that conversation with people right now, you need to. It's never too late. It's not too late to sit down and just go over what you have and take a snapshot of this is what I've got going on and this is what I could have happening. And that's all we need to do.
Well, there's a tremendous difference in the quality of care depending on what resources you have available.
That's true.
And sometimes people are really thinking age in place, and some of the conditions of aging in place are not what you would want.
That's correct.
And then the lowest quality of care that aren't aging in place are not what you would want.
Correct. And you've got another thing, we've got a long-term care situation going on in this country where, because we have so many people, like I said, living longer in care, that's got to be funded somehow. So you can actually take those resources that you have in your retirement and try and figure out how to fund that long-term care without ever having to pay a premium or without ever having to qualify for some type of policy. You can figure out how to make that work. There's so many different avenues that people have and so many different options. It's endless.
And get specialists that can help you figure
exactly
out the
right.
best way, the best places to be.
I am not a
help.
mechanic, so I would not try to fix my car.
Right.
I would take my car to a mechanic. People come to me to help them figure out how to live retired, to live happily retired. So that's why they come to see me, not for me to give them advice about other things.
Yeah. Thank you, Christiane.
You're welcome.
Your wealth of knowledge, and it's very much appreciated.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions about this topic or anything else related to empowering seniors, or if you have suggestions for the show, please reach out to me, Katherine Ambrose, at empoweringseniors@kpts.org, or call the station. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
This program is made possible by 46% of non-retirees believe they can't afford to retire. American Senior Benefits agents help retirees find solutions aiding your journey to retirement and financial security. More at wichita.americanseniorbenefits.com. Moving can be stressful. Whether your move is local or long distance, 2 men in a truck can help. More at 2men.com.
Are you a wartime veteran ages 73 to 85? Did you know there are new rules that may affect your pension? Don't lose out on benefits you deserve. Our team serves you because you served us. Contact Long-Term Care for Veterans today.